What's going on, guys? Aero here, and guys, another E3 has come and gone, but I'm sure a lot of you guys can agree on that this year's E3 was definitely one of the best ones for Nintendo in a long time. There was definitely some amazing gameplay for games like Super Mario Odyssey, as well as some surprise announcements like Metroid Prime 4, but I'm sure a lot of you guys were also surprised by the fact that Pokémon made an appearance at E3 as well, and it was during Nintendo Spotlight we got an announcement from the president of the Pokémon company, Mr. Ishihara, and just in case you guys have missed that announcement or you forgot a little bit about what was exactly said, I'm going to quickly play for you guys what was said during that major announcement.
I have one more announcement. Game Freak has begun developing a core RPG Pokémon title on Nintendo Switch. It may not release for more than a year, but we hope you'll look forward to it all the same. In the meantime, let's enjoy this year's E3.
So yeah, there you have it. The president of the Pokemon company just straight up confirmed on that E3 stream that Pokemon is in fact going to be coming on the Nintendo Switch. Now I know a lot of you guys are probably surprised by this announcement, and so was I. I wasn't really expecting any Pokemon content to be at E3, and even if there was going to be any Pokemon content, I was expecting it to be on Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, as I know when Pokemon Sun and Moon were coming out, they did a small little segment on Sun and Moon where they showed some gameplay and had a small little trailer and stuff like that. So I was thinking they might do something similar to that this year, where they show like a little bit of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon gameplay, or just have a new trailer or something. But it's funny because we actually didn't get any Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon content at all, but in fact we got this small little clip where they talked about how Pokemon is going to be coming on the Nintendo Switch, and that small little clip turned out to be one of the biggest announcements from Nintendo at E3. And so in this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit more about that announcement and just giving you guys my thoughts and opinions on that, and then towards the end of the video I'm going to be speculating on what we could possibly see for the Nintendo Switch in terms of Pokemon games. So hopefully you guys are ready, and let's get started. Now, I'm sure that we can all agree on the fact that this announcement came out of nowhere and that no one was expecting an announcement like this to be made at E3. I mean, the main series Pokemon games that are going to be coming out this year, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon, haven't even been properly revealed to us yet. We've only seen like 15 seconds of gameplay from a small teaser trailer, and we have yet to see an official trailer for these games. And here we have the Pokemon president telling us that they already have a Pokemon game in development for the Nintendo Switch. So it just didn't feel right to have him talking about a game that's probably years away without even having the games that are coming out this year properly introduced to us yet. And the only reason that I think that he had to make this announcement was because of backlash from the recent Pokemon Direct. So I'm sure that you all know about this, but recently there was a Pokemon Direct that happened just a few days ago, and this was definitely a Pokemon Direct that generated a lot of hype within the Pokemon community. And that's just because this first half of the year has just been really boring for any Pokemon fan, as there wasn't any like big announcements that have happened, and so a lot of people were beginning to think that this is just going to be one of those years where we don't get any main series Pokemon games. So once we got the announcement that a Pokemon Direct was going to be happening, everybody started getting really hyped because it looked like the next Pokemon games were finally going to be revealed. And so everybody started having a lot of expectations, and everybody was thinking that this was going to be a really big event, and they were really hyping up the whole situation. And then once the Pokemon Direct happened, we learned that Pokémon Tournament is going to be coming onto the Nintendo Switch, and that Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon are going to be coming onto the 3DS this holiday. And so now I know a lot of people were still upset by this, but I was completely happy. Like, I know I make a lot of videos about like how I think Pokemon should be on the Nintendo Switch and how Pokemon deserves to be in high definition and all of that, but like, I'm a Pokemon fan at heart. I'm still going to be happy that brand new games are coming out, so I was happy about it, but a lot of people were still disappointed by the Pokemon Direct. And I can show you guys the like to dislike ratio on screen right now, and you guys can see right now that that's a pretty big dislike ratio, and it's not one that's common on the Pokemon company's YouTube videos. And so a lot of people were still disappointed by that, and I wasn't really sure what the big reason was as to why people were disappointed by the Pokemon Direct. I think the one was just, like I said, the fact that the games are still going to be on the 3DS and not on the Nintendo Switch, but like, I'm not really that disappointed by that. Like, I knew that eventually the Pokemon games were going to have to move on to the Switch anyway, so I was like, it's okay, we can just play on the 3DS again. But I guess some people were disappointed by that. Another reason I know is a lot of people were just expecting these games to be Diamond and Pearl remakes, and so when they saw the fact that we're basically going to be playing in the Alola region again, people were a little bit disappointed by that, and that's what caused them to be disappointed by the Direct. Also, another reason that people were disappointed by the Pokemon Direct was just because of the lack of content that we got for the brand new games. Now for me as a Pokemon fan, the Pokemon Company really doesn't have to do much to get me hype over brand new games. Like they could literally just have a person standing there and announcing that brand new games are going to be coming out, and that's enough to get me hype. But for other people, the Pokemon Company really has to show them why it's worth getting hype over these games and show them why these Pokemon games are really cool. And because of how the Direct just showed 15 seconds of gameplay in the same region, with the same starters, with the same character style, and like the same person, it really doesn't look like the games are going to be that interesting from this point of view. Like if you're just looking at it, like obviously for me, I know that the games are going to be fun, but for other people, like if you just look at it from that, it looks like the games are going to be pretty boring and it's just going to be Sun and Moon again. So that's what led a lot of people to be upset by the Pokemon Direct as well. Now I know how the Pokemon Direct may have been not what everyone expected, but either way, I think that we could still appreciate that the Pokemon company is so willing to have their fans be satisfied and happy with all of the stuff that they're doing, that they were willing to give an announcement like this, that the Pokemon, that they're developing a Pokemon game for the Nintendo Switch, which is probably not going to be coming out till like 2019, because I'm almost certain that there's no way that the Pokemon company had that announcement planned. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like why would you be talking about something that's coming out probably years away instead of not even talking about the stuff that's going to be coming out this year? And so I think that because of that, it caused the Pokemon company to make the announcement that they are developing a Pokemon game for the Nintendo Switch. But either way, this was definitely a big announcement for the Pokemon community, and so I think that there's definitely a lot in store for the future of Pokemon. Alright, so now I want to talk to you guys a little bit more in depth about this Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch, as well as just give you guys my thoughts on what I think it could be. Now if we listen closely to what Mr. Ishihara says, he says that Game Freak has begun developing a core RPG Pokemon title on Nintendo Switch. Now the key thing here is that he says a core RPG Pokemon title. Now we all know that Game Freak has different terminology for the way that they define games than we do in the Pokemon community, but I'm pretty sure that by saying a core RPG Pokemon title, that's like Game Freak's way of defining it as a main series Pokemon game and not some spin-off title like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So I think that that's really cool. As for predicting what the game could be, there's a lot of different theories on what the game could be, but I want to show you guys something that I think really helps in figuring out what this game could be. Now after Generation 3, all of the games that we've gotten have been like a brand new region with like new games, and then we've gotten remakes. So like I'll show you guys right now, you can look at Gen 3, we got our new games, and then we got our remakes. Then for Gen 4, we got our new games, and then we got our remakes. And then if we look at Gen 6, we can also see we got our new games, and then we got our remakes. Now you'll notice that I skipped Gen 5, and that's because Gen 5 is the only one that's a little bit weird. We got our new games being Pokemon Black and White, but then the next games that came after in that generation were Pokemon Black and White 2, which was the same exact region again. Now if you guys can see what I'm trying to say, it's the same exact scenario that's happening this time with Pokemon Sun and Moon. Like you can see that we got Pokemon Sun and Moon in the 7th generation, and then we're getting Ultra Sun and Moon, which is still going to be the Alola region again, and it's still in the 7th generation. So I think that that really is like Game Freak's way of setting it up so that it's like the same scenario again for them to make another new generation on the Nintendo Switch, because it makes perfect sense. Like you can see that in Gen 5 we had Black and White and then Black and White 2, both Gen 5 on the DS, and then Gen 6 was right there on the 3DS. It was a brand new generation, and then it was on a brand new system. So I think it makes perfect sense to do the same exact thing here, where we're gonna have Pokemon Sun and Moon and Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon be Gen 7 on the 3DS, and then Gen 8 is going to be a brand new generation with new games on the Nintendo Switch. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And then also in Gen 6, you can see that we got our new games being X and Y, and then we got the remakes being Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So obviously you all know what the remakes are going to be for Gen 8. It's going to be the Diamond and Pearl remakes that everybody is looking forward to. So I think that that is probably what's going to happen. That's my prediction. I think it makes a lot of sense. Game Freak is definitely setting it up so that it's going to happen just like that again. So that's my prediction. Then again, they could always throw a curveball, as we see Game Freak always throws curveballs, so they could do something completely new. But I think it just makes a lot of sense to have Gen 8 coming on the Nintendo Switch. It's a brand new system, so you can have a brand new system with a brand new generation and new games. So it just makes a lot of sense to me. And because of that, I think that next year is going to be one of those gap years for Pokemon, and we're not going to get any new content. Now I would really love it if Pokemon for the Nintendo Switch could come out next year, like next holiday, but I just don't see it happening. I think that, you know, Game Freak, even Mr. Ishihara in his statement, he said that the game could not release for like more than a year. So obviously they're going to need some time to make sure that this game looks really well, especially because they're working with the console now, so they're definitely going to need more time to develop and stuff like that. So I definitely think that next year year is going to be a year where we're not going to see any main series Pokemon content, and it's just going to be a gap year like 2015. And I think that that's fine. I mean, if Pokemon on the Switch is going to be like a really cool experience, then I have no problem waiting an extra year. And I think in 2019, like in the early few months, we'll probably start seeing a little bit more information about the Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, that's my opinion. I think that it's definitely going to be Generation 8. But also, I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about what some other people are saying about this whole idea that it's a core RPG Pokemon title. Now, some people are saying that it could still be like a core RPG Pokemon title, but like a console version, sort of like how we have Pokemon XD, Gale of Darkness, and we have like Pokemon Coliseum. So people are saying that it could be something like that, and not like an actual main series game where you have like different gym leaders and stuff like that. Now, the way that I see this, the thing that's really interesting is in Mr. Ishihara's statement, he says that Game Freak has begun developing a core RPG Pokemon title. Now let's take a look at all of the games that Game Freak has developed, because he specifically said right there, Game Freak has begun developing it. Now I'll show you guys the list right now. You can see that Game Freak has only developed main series Pokemon games, and because of that, I think that they're definitely developing a main series game and not some like spin-off console type of game, and I think that that's why it's going to be Generation 8. That's sort of just how I see it, so I think that it's definitely going to be Gen 8, and so yeah, I'm just really looking forward to that. Also, something that I found quickly while I was editing this video is that they actually did like an interview with Reggie, and I think obviously you guys know who Reggie is, but Reggie was talking a little bit about Metroid, and he said that Metroid was going to be like a first-person experience, but then he also said that Pokemon is going to be like a traditional training and battling experience on the Nintendo Switch. So I think that that just confirms a little bit even more that it's going to be some type of main series Pokemon game. So yeah guys, I think the future of Pokemon definitely looks bright for the Nintendo Switch. I think it's definitely great that we're finally going to be getting Pokemon on the console. The thing that I'm looking forward to the most is now I'll finally be able to stream Pokemon content, and I'll be able to upload good Wi-Fi battles as well now, because now I can just record Pokemon with my capture card instead of having like some 3DS capture card, because if you guys know, 3DS capture cards are ridiculously expensive. They're like $600 to buy, and that's just a really bad problem. So I think that that's going to be great that now I'll be able to record with my Elgato. Like that's the thing that I'm really happy about. Like not even the fact that it's on the console, but just that as a content creator, it's going to be really easy for me to upload content and stream that content as well. But yeah, there you go guys. I think that we're going to have a great year now for Pokemon. This year we have Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon coming out, so I'm definitely hyped for that. And then for the future of Pokemon, we've got a brand new game coming on the Switch, so that's definitely something to look forward to as well. So yeah, this is basically like a Nintendo Switch discussion though for like the Pokemon game, so definitely be sure to comment all of your thoughts on this down below as well. What do you guys think is going to be coming on the Nintendo Switch for Pokemon? Do you actually think it's a main series game? Do you think it's Gen 8? Do you think it's Diamond and Pearl remakes? You guys can let me know what you think about all of that down below. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to click that like button. It really does help me out. If you're new to this channel, please be sure to subscribe. I've got a lot of cool Pokemon content and Nintendo content planned for the future, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero. You guys can always tweet me something or ask me something. I'm always able to reply to everyone on Twitter, so definitely go and follow me there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.